Shit. Oh. I'm late. I'm not late. I'm late. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fukushima Or Show. I gotta try to figure out how to spell that word. Or, it's an Or Show. Or Show. I like that sound, actually. Welcome to the Fukushima Or Show. And do you see any pools above that picture? Anybody see it? Anybody see a pool there? Huh? Do you? Huh? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you need some government official to tell you that there's no pool above that? Or there's a pool above that? Some of them are saying that. Stop laughing. Do you need somebody to tell you there's something wrong with that picture? How about that? Is there something about that picture that you can't wrap your mind around? How about that? Because I like to help you. I'm here to help you, okay? That's why I'm here. I'm here because apparently some people can't look at that picture and work it out on their own. And they say it's okay. Everything's fine. In fact, they say inside of that it looks like that. Even though it used to look like that. And they recently released pictures that look like that. And at the same time it looks like that. But we know it looks like that. So why do they bother trying to tell us it looks like that for? Is there something, am I missing something here? How can someone bang, boom, then boom again, then get hammered with 12-foot rods, 60 of them that were full of uranium, plutonium, who knows? Who knows? Nobody really knows what they're up to. They were able to make nuclear power 50 years ago, but they just keep making all these wicked, horrible, inconceivable, monstrous, vicious, absolutely vicious on Earth concoctions. And they've never been able to decommission a nuclear power plant. Not that that matters anymore. And that, you know, they filled them up with salt water, right? The picture there, that's photoshopped. Apparently they tried to put a net. They said there was a net or a tarp or something. I've had a number of people, that, because that's what people are out there saying, and so you hear it getting repeated all the time. And I've had emails saying that's a net. But I grew up and spent 11 years with 120 nets in the ocean every day. And so 60 nets a day we pull back aboard the boat. And you get probably, say, 20,000 pounds of codfish back in them days. And I know what a net looks like. I know how it hangs. I can make them from scratch. I have many times. Many years. To the point that every crack in my hand and in my fingers was open and bleeding for 11 years because I pulled on nets. Because that's what they do to you. That thin line. And that's not a net. Besides that, I don't see any dead bodies in there either. Besides that fact. Where's the dead bodies? And why would you even bother? Because then somebody has to go in there and pick the shit out of it. But you won't see any scaffolding, people putting scaffold up in there, folks. You're not going to see any people in there with torches cutting shit. You're not going to see nothing like that, okay? They can't. They're supposed to put a sarcophagus over that for the next 100 years and wait for the radiation to drop by 10. Like they're doing with Chernobyl. You just can't get in there. And like the link below to Chernobyl, people had originally like 40 seconds, and then they were up to a minute, and then they were up to 2 minutes, and then they were up to 5 minutes, because as people went in and died, 3,800 of them, they would clear out a couple of little feet and then run away and die in 8 and 10,000 rims. And the more they cleaned out, the further other people can get in there. That was the graphite. That's when I had my plutonium max fuel. That, let's get back on. And now they built a shelter over that, right? They built a bloody shelter over it. It's I went over it last night. I'll go over it again. Those shelters. They built a shelter, and it's meant to catch, basically, keep you from looking and catch the fumes. And then they can control, release the fumes into your communities and across the ocean. Because the bowels of hell down there, the stuff that's hemorrhaging, like those types of gases and stuff like that, you can never get in that building and work ever immediately because of all that stuff that's coming up. You can't get in there, see? They're just putting a tarp over the friggin' thing instead of a sarcophagus. But they can't put a sarcophagus over it because there's all these rods sitting on the edges. Let me see. And it's just able to do something because inside of it, it looks like that. Inside of it, that's not never going to change for 100 years. Nothing is going to change it, or it would have changed already. See, 990 something days later, you would at least see some kind of construction going on there. You would think, but because there's so many rods in the pools that were above it were full of rods. In the most stupidest place you can ever imagine. And there's just so much going on. Once again, I was over on the link below that was missing from my last few videos. My unbelievable. I know I put it there, but it's not there, so I had to put it back in there. It was to Lauren Moray and Radchick's interview they done on a radio show. Two of them together. It was fantastic. And I can't watch it without getting a pain in my chest every single time. After about 20-25 minutes. It's the weirdest thing. Because I respect both of them. Because I understand what they're talking about. And that they got it together and got it out there is just so powerful, folks. And then you take the reality of what they're trying to do to you, where they're just trying to build a shell. That's all that is. That just lifts it in by big things, and they slip in and let it go, and it slides into place, and then it's hooked there. They can't do nothing. They can't get in and fix and nail it on or something. Just paraphrasing nonsense. They can't do that. See, it's so toxic. You can't do that. We can't do that. No human can do that. No robot can do that. That's why every robot on the planet, I'm scratching my back now. That's why every robotic industry on the planet is trying to come up with something that'll work. Right? Even the stuff they sent to the moon, for instance, the rover, they had it up on the roof of Chernobyl and it died too, along with the million people that actually... 600,000 people went into Chernobyl, buckets with little tiny shovels, because when they pick up the stuff, they're bringing it closer to them and they're getting extra doses. So they had these little shovels, like they weren't even... Well, I guess they were coal shovels for... like old-fashioned coal shovels, because they had to go in the door, and so they had the high edges. But I seen people up there with sneakers, and I covered that last night. I got pictures there, should drop up. What I'm just trying to get people to understand. I'm not down. I don't go down a lot of these roads out there, and I should, and I can. And the hour goes so fast, and I'm trying to keep up and learn and other things. And I see the trolls went over on Miss Milky's site. They were like Yeah, they all got shook out of their bed or something. They had to go out and scream. Um, and they all they do is call you names. They don't actually point out anything, right? Which is what I would really love to see, is someone debunking everything so I can just give it up. That'd be so awesome. I'll catch up in a few comments here in a bit. Uh, but we're into this like horror show because number one is 9 times Chernobyl. Number two is 9 times Chernobyl. Chernobyl is 1/3 the size. Debunk that. And Chernobyl was a 30% meltdown. Debunk that. And number one, Fukushima is 100% meltdown. Debunk that. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling at the foolishness of it and how simple it is to try that and then learn. Oops. That one's okay. Well, what about building 2? Well, that's 9 Chernobyls. That's not counting the pools that are on the roof. Wherever they went, nobody knows where they went. They took a ride for 2 miles, some of it, when it blew up. And then rods and were broke apart, and they're full of these pellets that are compressed uranium, plutonium, 1300 weaponized isotopes, where they took the old weapons and processed them to get the smallest amount at the most powerful out of it, and then try to enhance it with different concoctions, lasers and everything else, and all, hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment trying to make it even more hideous. As if 2.2 pounds of plutonium is enough to kill most of the people on the planet is not hideous enough. And the fact that these reactors, you don't need, all you need is look at the pictures, and that's not one of them, because that's the illusion, right? But when you look at it, you realize there's nothing, and this is the illusion, folks. Hang on here. Let me get some good examples of what's inside of those Kevlar sarcophagus. That if you get a big enough storm, it's going to tear them apart anyway. They say it won't. They say the structure is going to hold up to a 9-point earthquake. And how are you going to know if they've done anything? And how can you get in there without all kinds of ventilation around you? How can you do that? When the cores, that pool melted. That pool went dry in number 4. But these things, they haven't even got pools. But yet they're putting out these pictures. And they're out in the comment section murdering people. The trolls are. The crazies. I don't know how they can live with themselves. I don't know how they can look themselves in the mirror to get out and lie. I don't know how anybody can look themselves in the mirror and deny what you see with your own 2 eyes. And just the basic comprehension of depleted uranium, or the basic comprehension of radiation. And then multiply that by, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. How can this actually be real? Well, it's all admitted to. Go to my links below. Go to E&E News, and they link to all those mainstream media if that's your cup of tea. But you can just go to any site and look up what they're saying. You can see, and if you go back, you see they cannibalize the numbers of rods. They cannibalize the numbers of melted reactors. Many times they try to skew that, and we call the media out so much they eventually come out and admit that the 3 reactors, 1, 2, and 3 are melted. They're gone, and that nobody knows where they're to. And I don't need to say that, but I say it anyway. Because, there's people that don't understand that because they're misled. And if they keep looking, it wouldn't take them long to realize that, yes, media doesn't always tell the truth. In fact, I can't remember a time they did. That's why alternative media exist. Now, even if the media does tell the truth, they just lie all the way through it on top of that. They use it as a tool. The fact that they got to admit to it, now they try to use it as a tool. We're not trying to do that. What we're doing is informing you with so much information that eventually you can, in one video, you should be able to deal with the issue for the rest of your life sensibly without being stampeded by the crap from the mainstream media, the absolute murderous lies from the trolls in the comment sections, or which are paid, right? They're PR firms, murderers. We'll be looking for their IPs in the future, I can guarantee you. Because the entire Pacific Ocean is dead, and people need to appreciate that and understand that, what that really truly means. No oxygen, so that means no life can exist. But think about the Pacific Ocean as a battery. Now, normally you think of a battery, you start using it and the battery goes down. Well, this battery doesn't work that way. Not at all. This battery actually gets more. It goes from 12 volts to 12.1 by the minute, and it keeps climbing like that. Because it's hemorrhaging out of the groundwater wherever that core has gone down about 100 feet. And there's 3 cores missing. And number 3 was MOX fuel. And so I told you number 1 is 9 times worse, not counting the pools above it. Number 2 was 9 times worse, not counting the pools above it, than Chernobyl. Well, number 3 is 1,000,000 times worse. It's 1,000,000 times worse than what Chernobyl. And if you don't understand Chernobyl, there's a link below for that. And there's a link below to Lorraine Moray and Rad Girl is the title of. And that video there really brings you down to beautiful, necessary details. Because if you can't grasp that part of it, you're in a lot of trouble. And then you have to grasp about air currents, jet streams, and the El Ninos, El Ninos, and how that can affect wherever you're living. So if you're living right under the jet stream, you need to get out of that. You can't continue to live there, and the price of your homes are going to go down. They're going to move all the infrastructures out of those areas behind your back. They're going to try to put you in the cities and get rid of you. That's literally what they're going to be doing with you. It's known as Agenda 21. And so all the hell that's coming from this is under the umbrella of global warming. But think about a Pacific Ocean where there's 3 melted cores with 1 million gallons a minute over each of them, minimum, when they're normal. That's before they got to 9,000 degrees. So that's roughly 4.3 billion gallons a day. And they've admitted to the 300 to 400 tons a day because they have to account for the findings of the cesium. But they don't test for the plutonium, the strontium, the uraniums. And these all have a big family tree, which is a hideous name. And then they have all kinds of inbreeds, and they have all kinds of cousins and aunts and uncles, nephews and nieces of, say, the plutonium, the strontium, the uranium. And so usually they're just checking for that cesium, 137. And a Geiger counter can only pick up that's my dog snoring. She's such a sweetie. I actually really like it. It's just something twisted about me. But she doesn't do a lot of it, but it's pretty funny. I sit here laughing the whole time. Smiling anyway. So the cesium-137 is the 30-year half-life that they always try to come out about. But they don't even test for the uranium, which is a few billion years half-life. They don't test for the plutonium, which a couple of pounds of will kill all the mammals and humans on the planet. They don't even check for that. They can't. And if you ingest any of these isotopes that came over in the death plumes that are regularly happening, because they're hemorrhaging out of that hole in the center of those structures. See, those structures, and if the water wasn't running over, those structures wouldn't even exist. Because 9,000 degrees will melt everything up, and that'll become a big sinkhole, and that building would have been long gone. So the water is running over underneath, and we know that anyway. This is not about this might be happening or that might be happening, because I don't talk like that. I don't say those things. When I say those things, that's actually what I'm talking about is happening, because that's what everybody confirms. That's considered, there's a consensus on all of that if you actually look. But when you put it in order and you do it for 30-something days, you start being able to keep it aligned and ultimately end up with a very straightforward narrative that anybody can take and use to bludgeon any opposition with. And then anybody can repeat that and use to mix in with what they're talking about. And so they go out and look it up themselves to confirm it. And then they can use that, see, in that context to really make it happen for them, to push aside the nonsense and make those people get it too, right? Not insult them, not fight with them, not argue with them, not be frustrated with them, but have a simple narrative that actually works. Because I use it in my own personal life all the time with strangers, and they get it when you give them a chance. And because I'm pretty quick, and I got a lot of the bases covered for a long time, well, then I can counter just about anything. And so that's all I'm really hoping for in the long run, is to build up the narrative. So people got a really good narrative, and they can come out and deal with the dummies that are being created by the disinfo. It's not their fault. I'm sure they're good people, and a lot, they just can't. A lot of people are in denial till the end of time. That's true, because that's the big problem too, right? If you don't know what's really truly going on, and that's what happened to me. I didn't get everything 34, 35 days ago, and then I got it, and I put out a video, and it was going to be my last video, but I had got it at that point now. I finally got it, and I can see how people just can't get it. I can see why. That's why I'm here every night, is because it's so complicated. It truly is, when you have to get a bit here and a bit there and a bit here and a bit here, and you can't get that whole context coming at you. That's so important for everybody, and I see that in my own life, so I know how to do it. That's why I'm I don't leave you no room to wiggle. And then I want you to know about the jet streams and how there's going to be lots of pockets out there you can move to, but you can't escape radiation on this planet, and how you have to learn to accept that. You have to learn to accept that no matter what, because otherwise it'll eat your soul. Okay, it'll eat you up like the bowels of hell. Like those bowels of hell will eat you up, And they ate so many homeless people from Japan already. Remember, 1 million went in Chernobyl. And most of them had a 1 minute, 2 minute lifespan. Because it's so toxic, you can never escape that kind of damage, right? Remember that I was telling you about the Iraq War, Dr. Doug Rourke. You'll find that video on my site, Dr. Doug Rourke, double K, DU, depleted uranium. I can't remember what I named the video, but it's up on my site. I put it up a few years back. And he was in charge. He was the Pentagon, that they hired him to go into Iraq and clean up the DU. And they done some of these experiments where they brought back vehicles from Iraq, the Bradley tanks, and they brought back 6, and they spent 4 years trying to decontaminate them. They couldn't decontaminate them. Think about that one. Can't be done. You can't decontaminate the metal itself. How can you decontaminate metal? How are you going to do that one? Right? You can't just, wave a wand at it. They've done 4 years in a special facility. They actually, and there were stories of Sister Jackie, I can't remember, such a sweet lady. And she had broken into a nuclear silo in America and got arrested on purpose. And anyway, the judge sentenced her to 4 years. And she was in jail, and that's what they were doing. They're bringing in these Bradleys from Iraq, back from Iraq, and they were making the prisoners clean them. And so a lot of the women, because it was a women's prison, like lost her teeth, lost her hair, stuff like that, nails, vicious sores. And what the hell was that her name? I gotta find that because that's such a great one. And she was a sister, a nun. Why would she lie? And she became active. This pediatrician friend who used to come to church all the time, and she was so tired of watching all the children dying of cancers. And she had spent many decades, I can't remember, it's a really sweet story. And she had traced all their cancers back to nuclear power. And Sister Jackie, I can't remember her name, she was so affected by that she spent the rest of her life being active, to the point where she would break into the missile silos. because she really got it, because she heard her confessions for years, in church and became friends with her. I know what you're saying to me, but she got to know her, and because she was a sister, and that she had watched another child die today of leukemia that she couldn't do nothing about, she started looking for similarities in their history, in their records. And these are only children, so it's not like it's a long history. And so we got a whole lot of problems where the Pacific Ocean has spawned a super typhoon at 195 mile an hour winds with a 100-mile wide eye. And that's because the ocean is so radiated. There's so much radiation hemorrhaging every day into the ocean, 4.3 billion gallons underneath it, emitted 300 to 400 tons a day, and a Dixie cup of this stuff will kill you. And everybody in the restaurant, or everybody in your school, or everybody in your house, or everybody at your job, or everybody every hour on the bus, every hour or quicker, because the bus gets radiated too, becomes toxic on itself, for 1 billion years. It's not a joke, see? We're talking about, when you go look at, it's the gallows laugh, but when you go look at what was in the pools, just what was in the pools, not the melted reactors, not the million times more deadly than any other reactor on the planet, number Unit 3. When you just look at the pools on the roof of these, that was on the roof of these things, that they're still trying to claim this was on the roof of these things. I'm not even going to go back down that road because I've already done it, but how ridiculous it is to show you a perfect. Now that could have been building 5 or building 6, but we don't know because the internet's been blocked since October the 25th, 2013. Bohol, Philippines had an earthquake 10 days before, 7.2. October 25th, 2013, Fukushima got one right up their gate, and they were ground zero. But Tokyo, which was several hundred miles away, the buildings were rocking. We've seen that in ABC. We've seen that on CNN. And so they closed the internet down, and they got a total martial law on that country, period. There's no traffic. There's 1/1000th of 1% of the traffic, at best, tops. That's like the very tops coming out of Japan every day. And so you get the scattered comment of people who says, well, I talked to my friend on Xbox, or I talked to my friend here and there, but it's not about Fukushima. Well, it's easy to pick people out when a smartphone knows everything about you, and an algorithm could work it out whether we even know what the word Fukushima means. And make no mistake, there's people in Japan, there's gamers in Japan that kill themselves because they won't sleep. Because they're just, and do you think they actually know anything about the weather outdoors, let alone Fukushima? Right? Do you? Huh? Do you? Do you? Do you? No, of course not. But this is a huge planet killer. That's what this ultimately is going to do to the planet. And has already killed the Philippines and knocked down everything over there. Just imagine all the houses and buildings in Canada got knocked down. That wouldn't make it. That wouldn't be any bigger, would it? Would that really bring it home for you then? Just because it happened to the Philippines. Go ask them what they think of it. It's not funny. It's just the gallows. Because I've watched it every day. The last couple of days, though, I haven't. See? It's gotten out of my sight. But I've talked about it each night. I bring it up. Because it's real. That's what all the global warming sites have been warning you for years. Is the ocean's going to heat up. And the storm's going to get bigger and badder and meaner. You never forgot to mention the part about it's going to look like it came off Mars. It's got a 100-mile wide eye. When a typical hurricane, F4 tornado, which that's what it was. It wasn't a typhoon, it was a tornado. See, the gallows laugh. It's usually about a quarter-mile, half-mile tops would be an F5 tornado. That will strip the pavement off your highway. Which is what it's done down in the Philippines. In fact, it was gusting, because I laugh every time I say it because it freaks me out. Because if it blew 235 miles an hour here, it's just, you're finished. You haven't got a hope. You just haven't got a hope. That shouldn't exist on Earth, period. Ever. And when I put out a video about that, They pushed me off the internet, literally. In fact, that video is still out there, but I can't find it in my video section at all. But it's hooked up to me if you can get to it, but I can't leave a comment on it. I can't do anything to it. It didn't show up in the search engines. It didn't show up in my search engine because I connected all the dots. It was simple dots. That's all that radiation, 4.3 billion gallons a day, every day, hemorrhaging minimum. And that's toxic beyond imagination because of the MOX fuel. So there's like 1 million reactors hemorrhaging into the Pacific Ocean every day. And there's a river at the bottom. They're spraying water on it. It's washing all that stuff down that's not getting down there quick enough. They got to get it off the site some way. They're just dumping it into the ocean behind your back all the time. Don't think they're not. I mean, all the papers out there, Plumegate. Go look up, there's a link below, Hatrick Penry. That's he just has his assumed name. But he'll link you over to all the paper. All the, this is another Gate episode where you had Climate Gate. You had, what were the other ones? Like you have all these releases of WikiLeaks. I actually downloaded all that, but I mean, no matter what you find, it's not going to make any difference. They're just going to pick and choose whatever they want to say. That's the whole point of that release, is they just refer only to the stuff they want, and there's millions and millions and millions and millions. And I really couldn't care less about poking fingers myself right now. Yeah, I could go down that road if I want to. But as this comes out, you're going to have thousands of people going down that road, which is awesome. Much smarter, much better, much more articulate, much more educated than I am at it. And I'll back them up. I'll go read it, make sure I learn, and then I'll back them up wholeheartedly, just like his link is below it. But I can't go down that road, and I really don't care what other people say on the internet. That's irrelevant to me. I'm looking for the facts, then I got to line them up, and you got to stack them appropriately, and then you got to feed it down people's throats in a narrative that is digestible. Otherwise, the baby birds are puking it up the wrong way. That's some sick and twisted stuff when you think about it. You can actually... I'm not saying that to the folks that come into my site all the time. You guys are just fantastic. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to you and you who are just showing up that if you give me a couple of days, I'll indoctrinate you too. I got no problems doing stuff like that. And neither do the people below my video. Because you can't deny what you're looking at. You can't deny there's no way there's super nice pools in there. Molly Maid is in there cleaning it up all day after watching and understanding the very basics of how radiation and boom explosions, hydrogen explosions or nuclear detonations, which are different than a nuclear explosion in some way or another, but they don't look much different outside of the big fireball at the end of it. You didn't get that one for a nuclear detonation. But with a nuclear explosion, you get the big fireball, right? With the nuclear detonation, you get everything but the fireball. That's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it happened at a place where on top of each of these 4 reactors were these pools. And why the pools might be in building 4, certainly, because the roof seems like it's intact. It's stripped. It's torn apart. The building's broken. The walls, all the pillars, the massive big cement, steel, reinforced rebar, they're probably like 6 feet or 8 feet minimum each one of those things wide. Or shattered, just broken in all kinds of pieces, hanging. It's crazy. What a detonation. But it never hurt nothing. Never hurt the pools. Like, I can't help but laughing every time I hears it. Because it's like, how do you even sleep at night, man? How can you do that? What do you say to your family when you go home? What do you tell your family? What do you tell your loved ones? Do you actually tell your loved ones I get up there and I lie and it's going to kill millions and millions a day that this goes on? We can't shut it off, but we're not going to tell the world? We're not going to give the world the opportunity to come in and do something and help it? We're just going to hide all the dead bodies everywhere? We don't think the world can deal with that, so let's wait till they're all dead and we don't have to worry about it. Is that what you're going to do down there? I don't know. It looks that way. At what point, when the winds hit 300 miles an hour and wipes out Vietnam next time, or wipes out Japan itself. Don't think that can't happen. That's probably exactly what's going to happen. Look at the last couple of big typhoons that came in there. It's a good thing they never had the internet online. There'd be some people out there panicking right now. And so they build little shelters over these bowels of hell, and somehow that's okay, and go back to sleep and shut up and look how pretty it is. We'll plant a few trees there somewhere and get it in the pictures. Do you get any idea how deadly of a game these idiots are playing with your lives, your loved ones' lives? That if you have children, how vulnerable, that they're the most vulnerable, even to low-level radiation. In fact, low-level radiation is extraordinarily damaging. But the death plumes that are coming out of these, every time there's an earthquake, all the rods are falling down inside that pit. 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like a laser beam. Extraordinarily, just like a laser beam intensity. Except much better, much more heat. Imagine trying to control that and use that as a laser beam. Don't think they're not trying. They won't try in the future. The whole ocean is going to be completely, utterly a big battery. With no, like, put it this way, if you took a cup of this, or you took a piece of it and you put it in your tank, your fish tank, the first thing it does is it annihilates all the microorganisms in the water. It just fries them. There's like electrical charge going through the water, and it's beating off all the isotopes are whacking out all these all these terrifying energy that won't stop for millions of years, billions of years. And they'll only tell you about iodine with the short half-life of 8 days. Or they'll try to take a banana and try to equate that with this, with an isotope that'll kill you and your loved ones. And if they cremate your body and they'll liberate that isotope, and it'll float around for 1 million years, 2 million years, and it'll find another life, and it'll kill that too. Because it's putting out all this energy. It's going to heat up the planet on top of that. And we have no idea what this genie out of this bottle can do to this planet, ultimately, in this kind of cascade. Because they say they might not be able to shut this off for 10,000 years now. Go over to ENE News and read the entire day. Spend the whole day there on that site. And also go over and check out Nuke. I got a good one here. nukeprofessional.blogspot.ca. That's a Canadian site. Is that the right site? That was Christina Consolo last night left a comment there, and I spent all day. I had to go take 8 batteries out of my 48-volt tricycle. So there's 2 sets of batteries. One's lead. I'll switch right back in a second, don't worry. So one's lead and one's lithium ion phosphorus, and they got computer chips in each one of those batteries. So there's 4 of those batteries, 12 volt, 20 amps. And then there's 4 12 volt, 26 amps lead acid batteries. And one of them had a dead cell. So it's been a long day. But I replaced the battery finally. And so I also replaced all the wires on everything while I was at it. So that's what I've been at all day. So I get home, and I got 2 hours to try to catch up on things. And I'm coming over to the comment section here in a bit. But nukeprofessional.blogspot, that's supposed to be the link that Christine was talking about. I haven't covered it 100%, but if it is, it'll show up under my video next time. And I'm going to go back. I want to remind people I got 2 videos out there on how to make videos, and the software is below it. It's really easy, it's free, and there's just some real simple features. And of course I never got that one done today because of doing the batteries, but that's okay too. And so Patrick Penry put out 2 videos today. Miss Milky got one up on her site. I don't know about right now, but I cut that one twice today in town on my phone, I watched hat tricks 2 times in a row, and then I watched it again when I came home. So I got to go down that rabbit hole for a couple of weeks before I can say anything. But for the time being, it's intriguing that here are all. It's like WikiLeaks, or it's like the Climate Gate, where all these hundreds of thousands of emails and texts and transcripts and stuff like that, minutes and all this stuff uh, that was very damning have come out. And so that's a very useful thing, right? For a lot of people, because that's what if they want to be able to convince somebody, they need some of that stuff for a lot of people in order for them to even accept it. I don't. I look at the billing, I say, okay, well, there's no pull there. That's pretty straightforward. I don't see no pull. You see any pull? Did you see the explosion? The pull was full of rods, and the rods were everywhere. And they went in with a bulldozer and bulldozed the rods out of the way so they can get in there, so the Fukushima 50 can get in there and die. There's many Fukushima 50s since. They're liquidators. And they get liquidated. And what that means is your organs will melt. Say, if you're on the roof of Chernobyl for more than 40 minutes, then you would actually fall apart. You would melt. The very cartoon right out of... because that's you're talking about x-rays. Because you're so used to hearing about these becquerels, because they want to keep you down in that low numbers. They don't want you to think about any other numbers. And so they got everybody pinned in there. But the particles, the hot, hundreds of tons of missing plutonium and uranium that's missing, a lot of that was atomized in those 900 degree Fahrenheit pits and have gone airborne. Oh, my battery's out. There you go. Sorry, folks. And so the swimming pools that were on top of these buildings can't survive anything. And once again, just like last night, for some reason, I didn't shut up for who knows how long. My apologies. How you, original? How you doing, bud? 41:58 minutes. That's not bad. You original? News Eye? Starlight? Yeah, no gold taps run dry. I Jester, I'm broke. I could be making $250K a year. Nuclear power program. That was the price of a soul in 1982. Yeah, no kidding. I bet. Eh? Yo! Vern Satube. News Eye. Jester. When will I catch up? I'll come over this one for a second. Maybe it'll make it easier for everybody that's trying to see what the hell I'm doing here. See, it's easier when I got the Wirecast up, and then I can stay away from the picture. But when I'm doing this, I kind of forget where I'm supposed to be. So I got to lean this way to get the audio. But thanks, Jester. Burst through the door, sorry you're late. That's okay. Like you say, a good thing about YouTube is that they pop it back up all the time. A few minutes later. Let me come down. I rumbled Geist. Off with their friggin' heads, right? Yeah, I hear that. Keep them coming, folks. I'll catch up. Well, I don't know how much you caught here, you. But it's we're off into a whole new world now. They done it this time to us, to the whole planet, to all the species. All the species in the ocean are dead, and well, they're not all dead yet, but man, what they got done to that ocean, we can't do nothing with that. There's no science, nothing out there can touch it. We need all the universities on this planet working together. Put time for everybody to put aside their bigotry and try to solve this. We need 4,200 peer-reviewed academic studies every single day, 3 a minute, 1,000-page studies on how we deal with all the nuclear waste and just the catastrophic cascades that are coming out of Fukushima from the 3 melter reactors, not counting all the rods that are buried in the ground and they're pouring water on it all the time. not counting all the tanks that are leaking. And if they have an earthquake, those tanks, because they're only plastic piping and everything else whacked together to get out of there before they die, and if that lets go, then each one of those 1,000 tanks, all that heavy strontium, plutonium, cesium, and all of these heavy stuff will get to the bottom. If it starts to dry out, it'll go nuclear. It might just go nuclear. Probably go nuclear, some of it already. We don't know. We've seen water boiling off the coastline, so there's fission off the coastline. The ocean has boiled out there. And all of a sudden we see that there's nothing else that really matters unless we can get the world to go to work on this. Because this is going to kill 95% of the species on this planet. And we can't turn that clock back. And so we got to look at where we can move to. They should have moved. See, they were supposed to lock us all up in our houses 991 days ago. That's the protocol for the government when you have these death plumes coming at you. And then they got to give you water. And then there's no commerce and everybody's panicking. But we've seen that this has been going on for 50 years. It's not just Fukushima. There's 8 million litres a day coming out of Sellafield, England. 8 million litres a day every day. It's so toxic to shoot the seagulls if you land there. They've been firing 5.5 million bullets a month in Iraq. I mean, that's dirty bombs. Everything there is dirty bombs. That's all dirty bombs. It's endless. There's 2 billion gallons in the 50s and 60s dumped into the soil at Hanford. 41 miles open pit. And all the tanks down there are leaking and rusting. And you can't get in and do anything because it'll kill you if you get close to it. There's 41 miles of open pit. They can't do nothing with that, see? You can't get close enough to that. It'll kill you. That's like going on Chernobyl's roof. You can't get near it. And they're not line pits, not that would matter. Because there's nuclear fission going on at Hanford in the ground and in those pits and in those barrels. That's how they're leaking anyways, burning them to just burn holes right down through it. And they've been at this, pumping it right out of the reactors into the ocean. And all the reactors on the planet are doing that. They're all broken. Yet they haven't decommissioned a single nuclear power plant on the planet ever. It would take them 80 to 100 years, theoretical. That's like me saying I'm a theoretical physicist. It's just, they don't, right? What they're saying is they really don't care. There's nothing else they can do about it. They've taken out hundreds of thousands of drums and dumped it into the ocean. Russia has done that. They got 2 subs down there with reactors and rods in the reactors. In the reactors, sitting on the bottom of the ocean floor. Hundreds of thousands of drums sitting on the ocean floor. They got ships filled with 45-gallon drums of yellow cake. A Dixie cup will kill everybody in a restaurant in an hour for 1 billion years. They just sunk them. They went out on all the oceans. Look at Somalia. They killed the entire fishery industry down there. There's no fish down there because the Italian mob and everybody else is going down there and sinking ships full of nuclear waste. And we need, in order to save the species on this planet, we have 2 options. One is to just say, the hell with it. She's all gone now, boy. Or we take all the institutions on this planet, all the universities, and they compete to come up with the best solutions for all of that. I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan, I don't know what the tonnage is, but like the animosity equivalent of what they've done is millions and millions of Nagasaki bombs worth of radiation. Not counting, that's just in Iraq and Afghanistan I'm talking about, bullets. But all this other stuff. And now this endless, hideous, odious monster known as Fukushima that is going to create super typhoons like that took down every house in the Philippines. Imagine if you were in the Philippines and 235 mile an hour gust, 195 mile an hour wind rather, whacked into your coastline and flattened everything. And then it was 7 or 8 days before anybody showed up with anything. And that's what would happen here. You know, if every telephone pole is on the highway and every tree is on the highway, how is anybody going to get in and help you anyway? And if your house is gone, it don't matter how much food you had stored away, do it? What matters at those points is going to be how healthy are you, how much reserve energy do you have, and what was your game plan was to get out of there. But these storms that we're seeing, that we know are coming, that's fearsome. That should be on Mars, not Earth, see? And they're just going to play this game, and it's going to come over here. It's going to go over there, and it's going to go everywhere. You can't avoid it. Because the models have shown just a 2-week dispersion radiated the entire ocean, like on a real bad way. But that was flawed. They never based it up on, if you put the 990 something days of 300 tons a day of this inconceivable waste that never goes away, that lives for 1 billion years, that shoves out energy every second for 1 billion years, and a Becquerel is enough energy to flip over a grain of sand. So it's energy. It's true energy. But it'll kill you too. You know, and you can breathe this stuff in. And apparently, I've heard the stories from the professionals. Now they're talking, there's at least 10 Nagasaki bombs worth of radiation coming out of there every day that we know about into the environment. And think about 1989 when Pakistan and India set off 9 nuclear weapons each. And the whole world took to the streets. All around the world, they marched everywhere. Everything covered that. And then France snuck in a nuclear bomb. Everybody turned on them. That was pretty cool, actually. And so if you look at what they said during that, and then you compare it to what's going on here every single day, how come the entire world is not in the streets screaming every single day? Right? Like they done for India and Pakistan when they were doing nuclear testing. This is nuclear testing on a whole different level, okay? Just like on a level that the most evilest person on the planet would be like, you guys are freaking geniuses, right? You know. (190607) stupid gossip program. There are only 2 possible solutions to the radiation problem. The real high night rider. Enough people praying. You spend 5,000 years praying for somebody else to come fix your problems. That never done you no good. $5,000 years of war fighting over religion. I miss Milky the Clown. I knew Baru. Hi Nerl. Let me catch up on some names. Hi Ketsit K. See, I almost pronounced your name that time. Newseye. Nuber Magic. What's up? Negative comments make me listen to Dana more. I like negative comments. Yes, bring it on. Where are they to? I'll find them. Only problem is I can't reply any. Like I got away with it last night. I should have just kept going. We have a space fleet. A lot of hidden technology. No, I'm well aware of what we got going on here. Cult, religion. That's what I'm talking about. Lyra. We got some. I don't know. Miss Milky. Nubaru. Nice stud name. Oh, your comment got knocked off. This is a social medical experiment. Yeah. And it's crazy the world we're living in. That as it wakes up, it's going to be, they're in a lot of trouble. It's because there's so many people out there. The true power of spirit? Yeah, no worries. I'm just saying. I sound pretty gnarly sometimes, so don't pay no attention. It's my sarcasm. 5,000 years of praying to a god, right? That really gets under me. I don't deny people that comfort that they get from that. I get that. I see that in my own life all the time, okay? I just, to me, praying for somebody else to come fix my problem is not part of the solution, it's part of the problem. Part of the solution is getting educated, getting informed, and helping people understand at least the basics, and if not, the vitals, and mix it up as much as you can. and make them into alloys. Make them into, informed. That's all they need to be. Everybody's smart enough once they're informed. They can make their own decisions. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Miss Milky. Hi, Miss Milky. Moments, nothing more. Laser beams, news eye. How long did I rant for? That's a lot of rants tonight. I kind of overdone it. 54 minutes. Okay, come say hi to people. Yeah, I'm not yelling at you, real night rider. I'm yelling with you. Be class like you guys destroy Earth. That's an interesting one. Shits, they're still fighting each other. This guy needs to do drunk history. I don't know. I'll catch up after, though. That's for sure. Newer Magic 2012 says drunk reality. See, I got to figure out. Negative comments make me... Okay, I got that far. Cult ass, what a great idea. I'm going to catch up to that here at once. Yeah, we need the news blackout lifted, like Starlight is saying. I like that. We are all energy. I like that. We'll all be energy in the near future. That's for sure. You can take that to the bank. Not that kind, laser beam. Let me come down. Let me see if I can hook something and finish the show off. Hi, Carrie B. Nash of MG. That's a hard one to pronounce. Steve Siddell. What is yellow cake? Yellow cake is what's left over when you're trying to make atomic bombs. And so when you process uranium, then the yellow cake has a half-life of death of about 2 billion years. It's so toxic, a Dixie cup of it will kill everybody in any room in an hour, every hour, till the end of time. And there's nothing on the planet can hold it. And this is considered the waste. They make bullets out of it. Depleted uranium rounds out of it. They compress it and mix it. I'm in British Columbia, O'Brien, in video 1. I say pray to anyone else. I mean, that the ability of the human energy. I know News Eye doesn't like me when I say that, but she don't want. I don't hold it against anybody. I got all kinds of religion in my family. I understand it quite well. I'm just saying if somebody asks me opinion, well, then I'm going to give me opinion just like I will do anywhere else. I don't disrespect anybody, though. That's for sure. What kind of propaganda is this? You always wanted to be a porn star in Maneuver Magic? Go for it, man. Because you might regret not. That's the way life is. So, Planet X. What are you trying to... Yeah, no, go ahead, man. Slam. Is Rumblegeist being what are you putting Planet X there? Who gives a fuck about Planet X? The fuck would you even put that on my channel for? Hi, Jacko. Planet X. Maybe you should be somewhere else, like over on Planet X. I could help you if you like. Just to make sure it's not an issue. Let me see. Rumple's being a dick. I don't know. I'm trying to catch up. I don't know, folks. I'll deal with that after. No big deal. As anything we imagine turns to reality, we're Superman. We are Superman. And what you got to remember is if you walked into your local town council and you asked them, what should you do if there's a Fukushima drill? And what's your plans for Fukushima evacuation drills in case any of the death plume comes over? And can you just send me so I know what to do? And would you take care of our pets if we got to evacuate? Or is there somebody here? Like, say stuff like that. And then leave. And I can guarantee you, they'll say, oh, we can probably get some funding for that. And they'll look it up, and sure enough, they'll get some funding for that. But the little towns are different than the left, right, centre, middle, far, extreme, nihilistic big city workers are. They'll actually go look and they'll realise, holy crap, if you can get 2 or 3 towns in a small area doing drills for Fukushima evacuation, then maybe people will admit there is a big meteorite. And that meteorite is coming at us, and it's got everybody's name on it, and you can't avoid it. And you have this opportunity where you can take everything on the planet that you got. Like you would. If you looked up and seen a meteorite coming right now, you know what would be going on this planet? Every university on the planet, bar nothing, would be working 24/7 to come up with a way to stop it. And we have that little window right now. And that's why we're here every night. Even though the trolls will come in here and be dicks, I'll remove them after, just like they don't even exist. It's irrelevant. But we have to concentrate on that meteorite that's coming at us. You are the people that are chosen and have that responsibility. You chose that yourself to get in. When you chose to come here and watch these videos and see and seek out the information, then you made that decision that you want something to happen, but not that radiated ocean that's coming at us. And you can't stop that. So you waited, we waited, I waited, everybody waited. Now what? Now we got an irradiated ocean we can't do nothing with. That means we got to get rid of all the coastline in the entire Pacific Rim on this planet, the biggest ocean. And what's next? This thing is going to chase us off the planet if we don't get our act in gear. We have the ability. We spend all of our resources murdering people with this war machine, and it uses up so much resources to run these aircraft carriers and all these ships and all these jets and all these fighters and all these satellites and all these precious resources of lives and mayhem and carnage on this planet. And they can't keep that pace up because the military will eat up all the resources and they won't be able to get off the planet and go up to their paradise where everything is perfect for some reason. So they'll sacrifice this entire planet, is what they've done, to get their hands on isotopes that might power their spacecrafts into other planets and dimensions. There's billions of planets in the Milky Ways now. They admitted to that. That's to force you to try to build a technology, to give you that gleam, that, oh yeah, if we work at it, we could build it. Meanwhile, Fukushima is coming at us. And it won't be long now when everybody's going to have to liquidate their assets to stay alive for a little while longer. Sun radiation has nothing to do with the radiation from Fukushima or Chernobyl or Iraq or Hanford. It has nothing to do. It's like mentioning apple or banana or potato and say that's the same type of radiation. Sun radiation has nothing to do with it. That's indigenous to this planet. Everything on this planet has lived through it, and just the genetic superior species have lived, and there's 8 million on this planet, and they're conditioned to live with the sun. That's a natural radiation. It's got nothing to do with the condensation. The condensation we have at night, you get one of these isotopes in your body, you die. And the atmosphere is full of them. The troposphere is full of them. The stratosphere is full of it. Not just from Fukushima, but that definitely ain't going to help anything with 4.3 billion gallons a day going into the ocean. Thanks, Hardcore Battleboard. Thanks, Elizabeth. Uruguay is not a good choice. Perhaps a bunker with a good conditioning and a Geiger counter. Well, you need 1,300 Geiger counters. Each Geiger counter has to be calibrated to the 1,300 isotopes to even know if you're getting the deadly dose or not. See how messed up that one is? And it doesn't stop there. Don't think it does, right? Because it changes the property of your food and your water, your air. It's just insidious till the end of time. But thanks. Thank you. Good night, Starlight. Good night, Miss Milky. Your link is below, folks. If you can't watching the video later, there's links below that are there for you on purpose. Nuber Magic. Hi, Jester. Hi, Paula. I'll catch up. Camshaft. Jester. Even you, Rumpelgeist. And Nastu MG. And Albert and Elizabeth and Starlight again. And VNV Studios. Let me come down and make sure I get a few people. The Real Knight Rider. Patrick. And Ketsur K. We're getting down there. Mom and Oxide. I didn't see you. It's hard. I'm trying to keep up. But I spend most of the time rambling. Because I'm so tired of the nonsense that it's okay once in a while. You just gotta get it off your chest, no matter what, right? Irony, real, non-real. Raw, non-real. I gotta come up with a way to pronounce that one. I don't care if I gotta cut my arm off. Yeah, good night to you too. In the room, everybody. Junkyard. And the new brew, of course, again. Can't say enough. Jerry, go eat your tuna, buddy. Enjoy it while you can. You're doing the right thing because it won't be long before you'll be afraid. Anybody says tuna, you say, get that out of my house. And that was a good show. I think I'll change the name later to episode 1. The Fukushima horror show. I don't know. I got to think about that tonight. Nice night. I'm going to go watch the moon before the clouds come again. We'll see you folks tomorrow night. Take care.